It's funny, they always ask, hey Liam, where's Pokemon WTF Moments? And they never ask, hey Liam, how are you? But hey, it doesn't matter. I know what you're here for, and I'm gonna deliver it to you because this is my favorite goddamn series on this goddamn channel. So let's end this lovely mental health break that your boy's been on, and let's get into some bloody WTF moments. We begin today's episode with this direct quote from the narrator. After a blistering battle that netted him a Noctowl, and yeah, let me stop you right there, mate. Blistering battle that netted him a Noctowl. Now, I love alliteration as much as the next person, but blistering battle? He used Thunderbolt and won. Let's not oversell it, mate. It's my boy! Man, I wish one of Ash's companions could always have a Poliwhirl. That'd make this show so much better. Yeah, I get it. Like Forrest Gump. Very clever Pokemon, but what's this got to do with the episode? You know, other than they're in a forest. Unless you're telling me some bloke's gonna turn up like, I love you, Jenny. I've got to say, hell of a shot by Team Rocket to land that net over all of those Pokemon. The accuracy at play here is off the charts. Once again, Team Rocket prove they're in the wrong job. During their motto, Team Rocket go from being in their hot air balloon to being in front of a ship and then back in their hot air balloon again. And I don't really know why. I want to say it's because they're supposed to be posing like fishing trawlers in front of a fishing boat because they caught the Pokemon in a net, but don't they use nets like all the time? I don't know, lads. As references go, this one's pretty pants. Direct quote from Misty.
You can't steal our Pokemon!
I mean, I hate to break it to you, Misty, but they have done. After shooting down Team Rocket's hot air balloon, a bunch of wild Ursaring chase Team Rocket as well as Ash and friends into the forest and continuously fire their hyper beams. Yeah, you heard, no rest turn for any of them, just hyper beam over and over and over. More than 5 PP's worth too.
Haha, PP, very funny.
And the worst part is, Wild Ursaring can't even learn Hyper Beam. It's TM only. These Ursaring are all hackers. Confirmed. After they've somehow seemingly outrun the Wild Ursaring, Ash and Brock realize they've lost Misty and gained Jessie. Mate, 10-year-old girl replaced by 25-year-old woman in a miniskirt? Hell of an upgrade, to be honest. Now, I know it's not all about that, but at the very least, Brock should be happy. Oh no. Everyone's ended up with the wrong girl in their groups. Whatever will they do? Seriously though, how did this even happen? All of them were running in basically the same direction, but when they split into 2 groups, why didn't they all run with their respective companions? Like, were they all running with their eyes closed or something? We almost get a battle between Ash and Jessie, but it's interrupted by the Wild Ursaring. Lame. Ursaring. Lads, can you lot, like, sod off for a bit? There's nothing worse in Pokemon than when a battle's about to start and it gets bloody interrupted. Now, a good kind of interruption is taking a moment to thank our wonderful Ace Trainer Ultra XL members who are Brometapod, Purple Dragonair, Ghost Lupin, Andros Lefay, Sin City Yeti, Gear Overlord, TJ the Nerd, JWatt8554, Night Angel, and Lucas Gates. Thank you all so much for the massive support you guys give to this channel. So let's get back to the episode. And frankly, I'm sick of reminding you guys that even though Ash keeps referring to his Pokedex as Dexter, that is not Dexter. You've heard me point this out all through their Johto journey, and it looks like it's not going away. So from now on, I'm just going to accept, for argument's sake, that this Pokedex is also called Dexter. Dexter 2.0, if you will. I hate it because there's been no storyline explanation for it, but we're just going to have to accept it. Direct quote from... Fine. Direct quote from Dexter. Ursaring, the hibernate Pokemon. Ha! Wrong! I think you'll find Ursaring is the Hibernator Pokemon. So much for new Dexter, huh? Maybe we'd have been better off with the old one.
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find the old Dexter was a Kanto Pokedex, so it won't have had any information on Ursaring.
What? It couldn't have been updated? I'm pretty sure Oak upgraded it once before.
Well, even so, Liam, I think you'll find it's quite petty to call out the new Pokedex for saying Hibernate Pokemon instead of Hibernator.
Mate, have you met me? I'm extremely petty. Hell, I didn't even include you in the last episode because I knew it'd make people whinge. And it worked. After hearing from the Pokedex that Ursaring can smell food that's been buried, Ash responds,
I hope the food's the only thing that gets buried.
Well, I mean, spoiler alert, but later on we're going to find out that it's Ursaring mating season. So I think we can safely assume some Ursaring peen is going to get buried.
balls deep.
Direct quote from James.
The Ursaring, they're after us.
Yeah. No shit, Sherlock. What was your first clue? In the next scene, Brock shouts out for Misty and Pikachu does too. Only when Pikachu shouts, no sound comes out. Like his mouth flaps, but he doesn't make a noise. Yeah, usually if you want to shout Pikachu, works best if you actually make a noise, mate. When faced with 3 different directions, James, Misty and Meowth decide to play Odd Finger. And Meowth wins, I guess. I don't know how he won, because surely he can't hold up more than 3 fingers, and I'm pretty sure Misty and James would have known that. So why would they both hold up 5 fingers? That doesn't make sense. Like, how does this game even work? And furthermore, what's the point of playing if Meowth automatically wins for having less fingers? Answers on a postcard. Whilst Brock prepares dinner in the hopes of creating a scent that Misty can follow to find them, Jessie just stands there drooling into it. Mate, that's just grim. When Jessie asks if the food's almost ready, Brock says,
This ought to do it.
as he drops the vegetable he just chopped into the pot. Yeah, because nothing finishes off a meal quite like throwing in a bunch of uncooked veg. Surely you're going to need to wait a couple of minutes for that to boil and soften a little bit. Then again, I know bugger all about cooking, so who even knows? Direct quote from Meowth.
I never should have said to go straight. I always have trouble going straight.
Meowth is gay? Or bi? Or pan? Confirmed? I mean, hey, someone had to make the joke, right? And a straight guy probably wasn't the right person. We then see James and Meowth split a cracker into equal pieces to share. With each other, mind you, not with Misty. Mate, how rude is that? They don't even check with her to see if she has any food for herself. Apparently, these lads have no manners. Pass it on. Not to worry though, Misty has a sandwich that Brock made her earlier to keep her going. And remember, Misty's 10 years old, so I'm afraid we can't make any foot-long jokes. While Misty, Meowth and James think they found a cave to sleep in, only to find it's filled with Ursaring, who are of course very not happy to see them, Ash, Brock and Jessie somehow managed to find the only cave in the forest that isn't filled with Ursaring. Mate, what are the chances of getting that lucky? Like, this forest is filled with Ursaring, and I refuse to believe the cave that Misty and co found was the only one that happened to have Ursaring living in it, so what's the deal? Does Misty only get plot armor when she's with Ash and Brock? That doesn't seem very progressive. Okay, this time I swear they're playing rock, paper, scissors. But somehow Meowth still wins even though he's clearly holding up paper. I guess he wins because Misty and James went with the same number of fingers? Wait, is that how this game works? Here's a direct quote from Misty after her group realized they haven't reached the bottom of the cliff they climbed down.
I knew this was a bad idea, Meowth. Now we can't climb back up, and it's too dark to see how far it is to climb down.
Meowth then decides they should climb back up, even though Misty literally just said they can't climb back up. Then, after Meowth accidentally pulls the rope down, Misty says,
Oh, great. Now we can't get back up, and we have to spend the whole night here.
I thought we'd already established they can't get back up. Meowth not listening to her, I can kind of understand. But is Misty not even listening to herself? God, talk about a lack of self-respect. Misty really needs to treat herself better. And while we're on it, why don't you treat yourself better this weekend by using code ACE for 30% off G Fuel instead of the usual 10%. That's right, all this weekend until midnight on Monday night, 10th of October, you can use code ACE to save yourself a whopping 30% off your G Fuel order and get yourself some banging flavors like the lovely watermelon lemonade that I'm drinking today. It is, oh, tickety boo. It's beautiful. You should absolutely get some. Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. You should definitely go to gfuel.com, use code ACE to save yourself 30% on your G Fuel order, and it massively helps out the channel, and money's getting tight because, you know, didn't upload a WTF video for like 2 to 3 weeks. So if you could, if you want to try G Fuel for the first time, go grab yourself a starter pack with 30% off. It would really help me out. Remember though, G Fuel is for over 18s only because it contains caffeine, and children don't need to be anywhere near caffeine. They're annoying enough as it is, and because it contains caffeine, drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. Now back to the episode, and Misty draws a line on the ground with a stick she grabbed from who the fuck knows, I guess. And she tells James and Meowth to stay on their side of the line. And of course, you can see the problem here. As Meowth rightly points out, her side of the line is much bigger than theirs. And frankly, I think that's unfair. Not to mention her reasoning is that their brains are much smaller than hers, so they don't need as much room, which doesn't even make sense because their brains are inside their heads, so you can't just ignore the space their bodies take up. Being unreasonable when you're supposed to be working together and then being a massive bitch about it, that's not very protagonisty. Now I get that the joke here is that James and Meowth were stupid to forget that they were trapped halfway down a cliff before they started talking talking about stealing Misty's Pokemon. That's not what bothers me. What bothers me is they were talking so openly about how they don't like Misty and the way she bosses them around and how they want to steal her Pokemon, when she's literally just put her head down to go to sleep seconds ago. Mate, she barely had her eyes closed before you started your discussion. She can definitely hear you. There ain't a cat in hell's chance that she's even remotely asleep yet. Use your noodles. Meanwhile, Jessie decides to sneak off with Pikachu and is surprised to find herself bumping into an Ursaring. Mate, did you forget why you're in the cave with Ash and Brock to begin with? You were in there because you were hiding from the Ursaring. What, you think because you've slept for a couple of hours that they'd all have disappeared? Also, how the hell did she not wake Pikachu up? She literally screamed at the top of her lungs and then ran fast enough to create a dust cloud in her wake, all while still holding Pikachu. I don't know about you, but even I'd wake up after that. Apparently Pikachu is an extremely heavy sleeper. Pass it on. Direct quote from Jessie the next morning.
I didn't get Pikachu or any sleep.
Why not though? Like, Pikachu I get, but why didn't you get any sleep? It was clearly the dead of night when you tried to steal Pikachu, and it's clearly daylight now. That change takes hours to happen. So in that time, why didn't you just go back to sleep? Seems like a you problem, to be honest, love. Now, I was gonna call Misty, James and Meowth realizing they were only a few feet from the bottom of the cliff a WTF moment, but then I figured, nah, it was dark, how would they have known that? But then I remembered Misty had a massive stick she drew that line with. She could have just dangled that down over the edge to gauge the height, or she could have just dropped it and waited for the sound of the stick hitting the ground. So actually, this absolutely is a WTF moment. What a trio of numpties. Mate, when Meowth got all excited about his hand and James just solemnly leaned in and said, "Give someone else a chance," did that sounds suspicious to anyone else? Like, guys, I know you're missing Jessie, but now's really not the time. Ash decides to battle since there's just one Ursaring in front of them, almost like he forgot that this forest is literally full of the fuckers. And of course he sends out Cyndaquil, and it's like, dude, you own a Heracross. Heracross is a fighting type, and Ursaring is a normal type. Heracross was made for this. Hashtag justice for
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find Ash swapped his Heracross for one of his Tauros a few episodes back and hasn't had Heracross added back to the party.
Oh god, you're right, he doesn't even have a Heracross with him. So Heracross now just doesn't get any TV time at all. Well then, even more so, hashtag justice for Heracross. Ursaring's anime cry is literally just a guy going, "Ah!" Like, I get that not every Pokemon has to say its own name as its cry, but could the guy not have at least tried to sound a little bit like a bear? Jessie comments on how well trained Ash and Brock's Pokemon are. I mean, let's not praise them too much. Brock did only tell Onix to use Tackle. You know, Tackle, the move that literally every Onix knows the moment it comes out of its egg. That's not exactly academic Pokemon training, is it? I'm just saying, don't give them too much credit. Ash and Brock are absolutely shocked when a bunch more Ursaring turn up. I mean, you guys saw how many Ursaring live in this forest. How long did you really think it'd be before more turned up? Like, this one's kind of on you, lads.
Well, actually, Liam, aren't you going to comment on the animators using the exact same shot of Ursaring and just changing the characters that are facing it?
No, because that's pretty common practice in a lot of anime. And really, if I was gonna be that picky, we'd be here all bloody day, and nobody wants that. Miraculously, both groups of trainers all get chased by their respective groups of Ursaring to the exact same place, so they're all reunited. Which, honestly, seems quite unlikely. So you might be wondering what the explanation here is, and it's quite simple. Because anime! I mean, to be fair, it's also just general plot convenience. But also because anime. After a rope bridge they try escaping over collapses, Ash and friends and Team Rocket are all left dangling. And the only thing holding them up are Ash's hands. Yep, the weight of Ash himself, Pikachu, Brock, Misty, Togepi, Jessie, James, and Meowth are all being supported by nothing more than Ash clinging on for dear life. Ash Ketchum is hench. Pass it on. Brock then suggests they use their Pokemon to help them get back up. So Ash lets go of the bridge with one hand to get his Pokeballs. Meaning he's now holding everyone's weight like before, but with a single hand. Ash Ketchum is uber hench. pass it on. James follows suit and sends out Victory Bell, which as always clamps onto his head. But then James starts flailing around, which includes kicking his legs about. But if we can clearly see that James's legs are both free to flail around, what the hell is Misty holding on to now? As Bulbasaur, Chikorita, Victory Bell, Onix and Arbok all try and pull the bridge up very slowly, the rope breaks, sending everybody falling down the cliff. Well, almost, because the Pokémon quickly use their vine whips and their snaky bodies to catch everybody. But hang on, have a look how far down the cliff Ash is. He's here, which has gotta be about 18 to 20 feet at least. So my question here is, how the hell did Arbok catch him? The average Arbok's only about 11.5 feet long, so how did Jesse's Arbok achieve this feat of stretch arm strongery? Answers on a postcard. Also, if these Pokémon were able to grab everybody after they'd already fallen a few feet from where they previously were, surely they could have grabbed them before they fell. Like, why wasn't that plan A? You know, instead of all that drag the already damaged bridge by its old frail ropes bollocks. Also, why did Misty draw the short straw? Like, getting grabbed by Onix must be awful. Think about it, you're already falling from a cliff and then you're grabbed by a giant rock snake? It'd be like falling onto concrete, surely. Not gonna lie, Psyduck mistakenly standing with the wrong team after Team Rocket decide to battle Ash and friends gave me a genuine chuckle. After Onix batters Arbok with a tackle attack, Wobbuffet pops out of its Pokeball, and Jessie screams at it to go back in. I mean, here's a crazy idea. Why not use Wobbuffet? I mean, it could batter Onix with counter. Come on, Jessie, use your noodle. And I know I've overused that today, but there's not a lot of noodling going on, is there? Oh look, Togepi's using Metronome. I wonder if that'll win Ash and friends the battle. Obvious sarcasm is obvious, I hope, because we all know the drill by now, of course. After Victory Bell uses Razor Leaf, Ash tells Chikorita to use its Razor Leaf. Bearing in mind Grass is 4 times resisted by Victory Bell. Now look, I get that for the purposes of the anime, Ash got Chikorita to use Razor Leaf to block Victory Bell's Razor Leaf, but even so, Ash is a numpty. Pass it on. Direct quote from Meowth.
My Fury Swipes will stop ya.
Meowth. Mate, when has it ever done that? Ash tells Pikachu to use Thundershock, even though I'm pretty certain we established recently that Pikachu doesn't know Thundershock anymore. It's supposed to know Thunderbolt, Thunder, Quick Attack, and Leer, which technically Pikachu can't learn. I guess Ash finally decided to play by the rules? But even if that's the case, why would Thundershock be the move he replaces Leer with? Like, come on lad, you don't need 3 separate electric-type damaging moves, you numpty. Togepi's Metronome calls for Earthquake, which sends Team Rocket blasting off again. See? We knew it was coming. Although somehow none of Togepi's allies were harmed by this earthquake. I guess Misty is a hacker. Confirmed. Ash spots a sign which explains why the Ursaring were being so aggressive. Because like we said before, it's Ursaring mating season. Yep, the Ursaring were getting down and dirty, and all these knobheads were interrupting. Kinda like how the Amazon delivery guy always manages to knock at the door at the exact moment one of you is about to finish. So actually, I can completely sympathize with the Ursaring here. They had every right to be annoyed. So those are my WTF moments of Pokemon Season 3, Episode 39, Forest Grumps. Let me know your favorites and any that I might have missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and become a member to support the channel. Use code ACE for 30% off G Fuel this weekend, and come and check out my live streams. I'm doing them on YouTube now. It's really fun. Right, until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.